winners and then we say, let's go. So come on. It's time to watch the show. We're talking hardball. Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw. We're talking hardball.
Happy Hump Day, everyone. Welcome into a live edition of Betting Weekly Hardball. I am Doug Kezirian alongside professional handicapper and Ryder Cup fired up Wes Reynolds. How are you, my man?
Yeah, despite the fact that I bet the other side from what is on my cap here, but look, excited for that. Obviously, we've got baseball, we've got WNBA, we've got college and pro football, but we do have the Ryder Cup this weekend, starting on Friday, going through Sunday. Is Team USA trying to get the Ryder Cup back from the Europeans. They've won the last two, by the way, on American soil, trying to make it three for three. So excited for that. Should be a really cool event.
You know, it is a great event, and I actually am not even like the biggest golf fan, but I actually went golfing in Scotland about 10 years ago or 12 years ago, whatever the math makes it. And I happened to be going to Scotland when the Ryder Cup was there, and I was at ESPN at the time. Randomly told Van Pelt this, who I didn't know, but my cube was outside of his office, and he was like, "Well, why don't you go to the Ryder Cup?" And I didn't even know because it was like a month out, and he had asked me, whatever. And so I ended up getting a credential and going, and it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever been to because it was on European soil, so that means it was even rowdier and more authentic, and it was just one of the coolest things I've ever done. So if anyone has the opportunity, obviously at Europe, but even stateside, I highly recommend it. It's just a different animal. Have you had the opportunity to go?
I went years ago in Louisville when it was at Valhalla. That's when Paul Azinger was the captain of the American side, and Nick Faldo for the Europeans. And that was one of the better American Ryder Cup performances actually in recent memory. So had a chance to go down there for that. Just such a great event, and the fans are always rowdy, for the home side especially, and get to see the best players, some of the best players in the world, in a different type of pressure situation where they're not in a major championship or they're not playing individually, and you're playing for the team, and it is really a different kind of pressure and a different kind of environment. But it's going to be rowdy up there at Bethpage Black in New York this weekend, no question about it.
No question about it. So I like the American spirit. We are talking America's pastime here over the next little bit. We have one game in action. We also have several intriguing matchups to get to. I bounced back a little bit on the show yesterday, went 1-1-1, so that's okay. Brutal beat on the Cubs' first five, 6-1 going into the fifth inning, and then the push 6-6. But that happens. We've all been there. You know, hopefully you catch some wins like you do losses, but 13, 6-1 over the last 10 shows. Had to go back and count, but we turned the page. Like I said, we have one game going on right now, and the Braves, winners of 10 straight, even though they're eliminated from the playoffs. They've been playing hard. There's still been a disappointment this year, but obviously cashing tickets of late. Down 3-1 here in the seventh, but they have two on in scoring position with one out. Acuna's at the dish, so we'll keep an eye on this game. Wes, any interest in a live line that you might have? Nationals are minus 305 at Bet Rivers.
Yeah, and they've gone to 305 now because there is two outs. Beater
Okay.
put the first two on here via the walk, and then the wild pitch advances to second and third. So Drake Baldwin up now. Would lean a little bit Braves, but they're about to go to their bullpen too. Bryce Elder does go 7, gives up 6 hits, 3 earned, does strike out 7. So he is going to be out of the game with 95 pitches. So it's kind of like now might be the go time for the Braves, who have won 10 in a row, but obviously playing for nothing and long eliminated. And then, of course, the Nationals pretty much eliminated in like June, essentially. So would lean Braves here to say that Baldwin would get a base hit to go ahead and at least tie this up.
Drake Baldwin has already gone yard in the game. He's the second favorite, Wes, for National League Rookie of the Year behind Cade Horton, who I backed yesterday, got pulled after 2-3 innings. So we saw that coming, Macero and I. So it's just painful, but he's an odds-on favorite, he being Horton. But can Baldwin come back and win this award? Is it worth betting on the batter? Because remember, sometimes the batter gets preference because he plays every day.
I'm not sure necessarily. Now, Cade Horton, by the way, has been on that pitch count like all year. Like last night, I think they said it was shoulder tightness or whatever they said, because he only went like 3 innings last night. And we've seen a lot of Cade Horton starts this year where he's got like 70, like low 70s pitches through 5 innings, and they take him out. Like they don't necessarily extend him. So he may win the Rookie of the Year with that low of an inning count. And I think he probably is going to, with the Cubs already clinched into the playoffs.
The Braves go down quietly now. So they had Baldwin at the dish. So now the Nationals are minus 770 favorites going to the 8th inning, plus 400 on the comeback. 5.5 is the total. Interesting. Like you mentioned, the bullpen's now in action. I would think +2, minus 121, because you always get the catcher's indifference in the 9th inning potentially, and that's the Nats. But the Nats team hasn't folded things in yet either. So I think the Nats hang on here. Don't want to take the plus 400. I'm not laying the 770 either. But it looks like the Braves, the Braves 10-game win streak, certainly on the ropes. We got 2 more innings to go, though.
Yeah, top of the order, by the way, the 9-hitter first, but top of the order coming up for the Nats in the 8th, and then middle to bottom for the Braves, potentially in the 8th and the 9th, unless they get some traffic on the base paths here in the bottom of the 8th. So may not see Profar, Olsen, or Acuna, or even Baldwin up again. So it's priced right for the Nats, because you got Wood and you got Abrams coming up in this inning. Bell and Lyle are both 2 for 3 already today. So see if that was the Braves. If that was the Braves' last chance there, they certainly did have it, but couldn't get it in. Had second and third one out, and no dice for the Braves.
Yeah, you mentioned it. The first 2 guys got on, so it's first and second, nobody out as well. We're going to get to the rest of today's slate, but I want to remind you, if you like what you hear on our shows, sign up for the newsletter, get exclusive tips, and the free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. So kind of a wild day on the diamond yesterday. Got there with a money line parlay. My lone win yesterday, Wes, was a money line parlay with the Yankees and Mariners. How about some late inning heroics in that one? But sometimes you get lucky. Better to be lucky than good. We'll start with the most high-profile situation. We are now tied atop the American League Central. The the Guardians are now 11-1 in their last 12. They got to Skubal, although didn't hit the ball out of the infield. 7 straight losses for Detroit. 1-10 in their last 11. Skubal pitched well, but it was just Murphy's Law. And I'm not sure the Tigers can recover from this. I'm really not. So Bybee goes for Cleveland. Flaherty goes for the Tigers. And I know about win streaks. You don't want to jump in late, but for me, it's Guardians or pass here. What say you?
Yeah, looking at the price here, and it is all Guardians traffic here from that standpoint, because I think what was this 120 on the opener, and now you're seeing as high as close to 150. I think it's 148 at Bet Rivers, but I even see some over 150s on the Guardians from this standpoint. So I might take a different approach, and I might wait on the Tigers. It's so hard to back this team, granted with this absolute collapse that they have now, both teams 85 and 72. And Skubal, I think, he wasn't going to be able to get into the 7th, unfortunately, for the Tigers once he hit Fry. Fry got hit in the face with a pitch, and that kind of, even a great pitcher like Skubal, that's going to spook him a little bit. So
did spook him.
Yeah, I thought it did too, and he got a little dicey. Just had that TMP, too many pitches there in the 6th. But this price is getting pretty high on the Tigers, though. I think if you've laid the Guardians on the opener, good on you, because you're going to get that great CLV. Doesn't mean that's going to end up winning for you. But at this price, where I'm seeing in the mid 130s at some place, and I even saw something pop up 140, it'd be Tigers or pass for me, just playing the number here. I think Tanner Bybee has been solid lately, but he has that one bad inning, Doug, where he kind of nibbles a little bit and he puts guys on, and that's always a concern. I think for Bybee, where he'll start to walk some guys. So yeah, the price I think has gotten a little bit too high. I understand people betting the streaks and betting the momentum, but I think at this standpoint, if you want to bet Cleveland on this current money line, you're a little bit late here.
Well, let's talk about the momentum. You think in the Tigers clubhouse, I know what the math says, but you think they're a team that can sort of pick themselves off the mat? I mean, I wonder if they're done. I mean, like literally done. 7 straight losses, 1-10. They've blown this lead. And I just wonder about their confidence. Look at the Guardians' price right now to win the Central. At the All-Star break, we're talking in the neighborhood of 150-1 was Cleveland. 80-1 not too long ago. And this is absurd. So you think you've been talking about the math of this, but isn't there a human element here in your handicap?
There is, and that's why I have not bet this yet. And I'm going to keep waiting a little bit to see if this goes up even further. Bybee, by the way, because I did have the recorded outs on him a week ago tomorrow when he was up there in Comerica. He did go 6. Now, he had to get a strikeout on the last out. Like it was always that with the recorded outs where it comes down to the last hitter, right? If he gets the guy, you win. If he doesn't, he's getting pulled because there's a guy warming up in the bullpen. And that's what happened with Bybee. And he did go 18 outs in all 6 innings, where he did only give up 4 hits and 1 earned and struck out 8. So Bybee, the last 2 starts, by the way, 8 strikeouts and then 10 against the White Sox. And then you look before 3, 4, 3, 5, 5. So more typical numbers. So I wonder if there's a little bit of short-term regression. And that's why I'm exercising a little bit of caution if I'm betting the Guardians here. And then plus the price has moved. But you're right in terms of the fact that, do the Tigers got to be questioning, what the hell is going on here? Like this thing was a wrap. A few weeks ago, and maybe they played like it. So Tigers have certainly been scuffling from the plate a little bit. Total 7.5, slightly juiced the over. Jack Flaherty can be a little bit up and down too. He's kind of like Bybee, where he gets some strikeouts, but he'll have that one bad inning where he'll have like 30 pitches. And then all of a sudden he's just struggling. You're getting the mound visits and whatnot. So at the price, Tigers are past, but I certainly don't like the direction this has been heading for this team.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it'd be Guardians or pass, and the number keeps steaming. I'm on the live site; it's at 148 right now, so we'll update those graphics. But I mean, numbers on the move, 7.5 the total. I'd look to the over, at least maybe a team total. I think Flaherty can get touched up here. Speaking of getting touched up, that Braves bullpen, James Wood has just gone yard, 2-run jack. It's 4-1. Nats have padded the lead a little bit. Sorry, it was a 1 solo shot, so it's 4-1. They lead by 3. It's 2 outs now in the 8th. So the Braves are going to have to create some magic against the Nats to extend that win streak of 10 games. So no play for either of us officially. We're leaning opposite sides, which is good to flush this out and discuss. It's certainly a fascinating storyline. Yankees have also closed their gap, much like the Guardians. They're a game back in the American League East, although they don't have the tiebreaker, so kind of 2 games back, all things considered. Max Fried, their ace on the bump against Frazier Ellard. It's a pretty big money line we see, minus 385. Yesterday, we saw the Mariners as massive home favorites against the Rockies. Yanks were hefty, but not like this. 385, so that's a big price tag. The run line minus $1.65 against this White Sox team that's lost 9 of 10. Shane Smith pitched well yesterday. But the Yanks did rally back. Again, Max Fried going, and he's been fantastic. Wes, 7 shutout innings in his last start. Just going down the line of his most recent starts, earned runs allowed 0, 2, 3, 1, 1, 0, and then did get roughed up. He's been really effective beginning of the season, struggled lately, and then he turned it around. So he's been, back to his, I guess, first half form. 8's the over-under. The offense has clicked in the last couple weeks. Didn't click yesterday until the very end. Got a wild pitch. I'm not laying 385, but I don't want the White Sox here either.
I don't either. And Jose Caballero, by the way, who they acquired at the deadline from the Rays, first ever walk-off hit yesterday for the New York Yankees to go ahead and put them in the playoffs. And oh, by the way, they're only one back of the division because the Red Sox did beat the Blue Jays up in the sixth last night. So not impossible here. What I was actually looking for while you were doing the intro for this game, I was trying to see where there might be some outs props on Max Fried, and there's just not many of them up because now you're getting into a tricky spot. I think if you're playing some of these, because it's like, okay, how long do we want these starters to go, knowing that you don't want to tax them at least the least as you can, because you're going to need them for the playoffs. So yeah, I did not see any out props for Max Fried, not only at Bet Rivers but pretty much anywhere in the market. Frazier Eller, by the way, going to be an opener for the White Sox. So looking at this, it's tough for me to really find an edge, because look, the Yankees did, and it's really interesting because there's some celebration because you made the playoffs, you're in the postseason, but you also
break
still
out
have
the
work to
bubbly
do.
last night. They did break out the bubbly last night.
And we'll get to that, I think, later when we talk about Mariners Rockies. You have a little bit of a celebration, but there also is still more work to do. And that's why this makes it a really weird handicap. Now, maybe not as much in this game where there's such a big money line for a White Sox team that's just playing out the string at 58.99. Yeah, nothing for me in this one. Was trying to find some freed out props, maybe going to play the under, that say, okay, maybe they kind of take it easy on them in the final start of the season, but nothing on this one.
Okay, and don't forget to get involved in the conversation. We love the chat, and it's alive and well. Amish electrician, not the Amish farmer. Maybe he's changed his handle. The Amish electrician can't wait for the Stankies to lose in the playoffs. All right, so he wants to fade the Yankees. Farmer calling out the electrician, Amish electrician. So we have maybe an Amish get together here.
Amish on Amish crime here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so far they're playing along. So good to see that we have Amish farmer and Amish electrician. Love this. This is great. Maybe hopefully it doesn't go down the path of the Temecula fight of Kobe Bryant fans many, many years ago, about 8-10 years ago. But in all seriousness, so does the bubbly make you interested in backing the White Sox at all? First five, first team to score, anything like that?
Not really, even though the scenario certainly would favor the underdog at that standpoint. But this team 1-9 the last 10, and that's asking a lot. I think for this White Sox team. Now, one of the things too is that for the night games, we don't have any of the lineups out yet. So you also got to look at, okay, do they sneak in a day off here and there for some of the stars? They sneak in a day off for like Judge, or for Trent Grisham, or Stanton, or whomever. It could be any number of guys. They might don't do it the same game, but they're going to sneak days off here and there to get guys rested, especially if you're in the wild card. If you don't win the division, which is still very much in doubt in the American League East, but if you don't win the division, you're playing like right away. So if you can sneak in a day off, and especially if you're playing a team like the Yankees are with the White Sox, okay, we can still win without one of the key cogs in the lineup. So that's something you also got to worry about when you're handicapping these.
Stuff. Good context on that one. Okay, so one game back of the Blue Jays. Let's check in on Toronto as the Blue Jays host the Red Sox. Boston took care of business yesterday. Blue Jays are home dogs because Garrett Crochet going for the Sox, who are fighting for their playoff lives via the wild card. So they're in the second slot, but they are a game and a half up on the fourth spot, which would be out of the playoffs. So they don't have time to mess around. Crochet's been fantastic. Give me the Red Sox first five here. I am going to back Crochet. He's been outstanding. Really one bad outing in the last 4 months. So I don't see any reason to get behind him. I know Toronto's got a beefy lineup. They are interested in sort of, they're coming to play in this regard. Scherzer obviously can pitch well, all that, but I'm just going to keep riding Crochet. So on the two-way first five money line, he's minus 136 for the first five. So I'll play that as my first play.
Sure, and I kind of am on the same wavelength, but I played a different way. Now, the recorded outs, by the way, are I don't believe are available. They're not available at Bet Rivers, but if you find it out there, Max
They
Scherzer
are.
has,
It's 17 and a half.
or I mean, earned runs, I should say. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I messed that up. Earned runs allowed. Uh Max Scherzer has really kind of struggled his last four starts. If you look at it, he only went four against Milwaukee, only went 4 1/3 in the Bronx, did go five against Baltimore, and then got absolutely rocked last time out at Kansas City, where he didn't even make it out of the first inning. So you would expect, some more length this time around. But Scherzer, he has been struggling lately. So what I would like is actually Red Sox. If you want to play Scherzer over earned runs, or perhaps you look at team total here with the Boston Red Sox, and that's actually what I'm looking at right now, especially if you can get a
Three
first
and a
five.
half for the Red Sox, overs minus 139.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and especially that's even better if you can find like a first five. Unfortunately, can't give up the earned runs necessarily. It's not available at BR, but I think the Red Sox are going to get to Scherzer. A
Okay.
little bit here, so I would lean, for something that's available here. I would lean the over 3.5 at minus 139. I just think Scherzer's going to have that one bad inning, and he can turn it up. He's had some great outings this year too. Don't get me wrong, but he struggled a little bit, down the stretch. And Red Sox, obviously, out of the division. I don't know if they are mathematically, but for all intents and purposes, they can't win the East, but they can get a wild card spot. So uh, I think fading Max Scherzer, and you could do it a couple different ways. I know you did it with Crochet there in the first five, but playing some of those props that might be available on Scherzer. But you know what? Since that's not available, but we're along the same wavelength, I'm going to join you
Okay.
on Red
Well,
Sox
hold on.
first
Let me
five.
give you a couple other options if you like crochet. I'm just talking it out. Not, I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to steer you away from the first part, but what about you can bet a game prop, first team to a certain amount of runs, first team to 2 runs, first team to 3 runs. If you think they can get to Scherzer and you want to back crochet, and they're the road team, so they're going to have first ups. So first team to, I don't know, 3 runs minus 134. It's a three-way line. So if nobody gets 3 runs, it's a losing ticket. But the first team to 3 runs, if you want to back crochet, fade Scherzer, and not do it via the team total or first five money line.
That actually, and look, I don't do this market really
Right.
very often, but that would be the way I would go. So let me go first to 3 runs.
Yeah.
There you can also, it is a 3-way line and not a 2-way line. So, ties do lose, keep that in mind. But let's go minus 134 Red Sox first to three.
Yeah, I mean, I like that a lot. I've done that in the past with certain situations. I think this, kind of adds to it. So I guess the benefit is you get the first ups. Let's say the Red Sox get 3 runs right away off Scherzer, the first few innings, and then don't score again. So you win that bet. You don't win the team total bet, right? So that's like an advantage. Um, just different ways to do it. You can sometimes sprinkle it out. Sometimes we talk about bets going half and half, like first five in game on a total or something like that. This is another way to break up a bet on a team total. You can do first two if you like the pitcher you have, and obviously we both like crochet. So this is a market to kind of diversify the portfolio.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of different ways to play these. If you're playing pitcher props, money lines, run lines, what have you.
Okay, all right. So each of us getting involved with a pro Boston Red Sox wager and a line that feels on the lower side that we thought. We mentioned the bubbly. The Mariners got the bubbly last night after clinching a playoff spot thanks to a late rally. So the Mariners are now 15-1 in their last 16 games. They rallied from a 3-1 deficit. Naylor got the big hit with the bases chucked, double in the gap. So Seattle staying hot. They now lead the American League West by 4 games, so they're close to clinching the division as well. Luis Castillo on the bump. And the M's are minus 315 favorites over the Rockies, who are going to counter Castillo with Tanner Gordon. And this is a big game because the Dodgers are next for the Mariners. So they want to definitely focus on taking care of business against the Rockies. I don't know. I'm interested in just laying it with the Mariners. I know they partied. I just think this Rockies team is so bad.
They are bad, but I do think you could get a slow start from the Mariners at the plate. Last start of the year, by the way, for Tanner Gordon, and he's been okay. There haven't been many bright spots with the Rockies over the season, of course, being the worst team in baseball. But Tanner Gordon's gone 6 innings in 5 of the last 6. And that was against some good competition, too. The Dodgers, the Cubs, the Padres, and the Astros. Maybe all 4 of those are playoff teams. Certainly, there's a little bit of doubt on the Astros right now because they're falling well behind the Mariners in the West. The ERA over that last 6, 3.74. So that's not bad. And maybe the Mariners, even though there's still some work to be done to get that first round bye, clinch the AL West, which they're very close to doing, could be a little bit flat first time through the order, or first even couple times through the order, I think. So I think Tanner Gordon, at least goes 5, maybe gets into the 6. So what is it at Bet Rivers now? I believe, is it minus 121? I think I last saw Tanner Gordon over 15.5 recorded outs for me.
Hey, I like it. I like the slow start angle, things like that. So Gordon over 15.5 outs. What about the Nerfy? Any interest in a Nerfy? If you think it's going to be a slow start and you want to back Castillo, if you think he can take care of business, the Nerfy's minus 113.
Could be. It makes sense. I don't do that market all that often, to be honest with you. But I do worry, and that's why I played the Gordon. I do worry a little bit about Seattle perhaps getting off to a slow start. Castillo just running through the numbers here. Maybe a little bit of regression coming, perhaps not. The Rockies are so erratic at the plate. So that's honestly the only way I've been betting Rockies games is pitcher props. On either side. I have not been betting money lines because it's like this team seems unbettable and have been for a long time. So you never know when that's going to happen. It's not a very good lineup, even though they have some guys that can hit some home runs at home. But now on the road here, nothing for me on the Nerfy.
Okay. I am going to get involved in Nerfy. So I think you got me thinking this game in a few ways. So I do like the Nerfy minus 113. I think you're right. I think I'm expecting a flat start from this Seattle lineup. The Nats lineup has come alive here in the 9th. So the Braves did add a run with a Marcell Ozuna home run to center. So now it's 4-2. Nats first 2 runners on. So maybe trying to blow this game open. It's 9th inning, 4-2. And the over-under, I believe, was 9 coming into the game. So, maybe a little bit of a sweat for a team that, for someone who bet under 9. And so the first 2 guys on, the run line is -3 plus money for the Nats. So some late action and the old -2,000 money line for Washington. And we'll continue to update as the Braves, again, riding that 10-game win streak. Let's keep it in the American League West as the Astros are a game back in the wild card as well as the 4 games back of Seattle in the division. So they're focused on the wild card right now, but they've lost 4 straight. Hunter Brown on the bump in Sacramento to face the Athletics. JT Ginn going for the A's. Slight road chalk here for Houston, which is just kind of spiraling here. But Hunter Brown's been fantastic. Hasn't given up more than 2 earned in ages. How about end of July? So it's been 2 months, over 2 months. He's given up over 2 earned, and that was 3 earned. So that's the kind of consistency we're getting out of Hunter Brown. He's been fantastic and really, really impressive stuff. But the problem is this team is just flat right now, but they got to hang on for the division or for the wild card. So they can't mess around just because they lost to the division. I lean Houston here, actually. The price is low enough for me to get involved.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to play this game. I don't think your setup there is incorrect at all. I was trying to figure out, do I want to play Hunter Brown over his recorded out 17.5? And he has, by the way, cleared that number. And I believe each of his last 7 starts, but As we've talked about all season, this is kind of a tricky ballpark there in Sacramento.
Mhm.
So that is at least a little bit of a concern for me, and that's why I'm not going to lay the over 17 and a half. I think it's priced right, and the fact that you're not seeing heavy juice on it based on the fact that he's gone 7 in a row over that number certainly would make me pause a little bit, just doing a little bit of market reading. So yeah, Houston now is very much up against it. I think for the wild
Yeah.
card here at this standpoint, because right now, in fact, they would be out. They'd be out by one game because they're behind Detroit, who has been in a spiral, and Houston just kind of been up and down, 5-5 in their last 10. So debating on what I want to do with this game, I lean over 17 and a half, but a no play for me.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a really astute observation, and having it filtered a little bit, knowing that that ballpark in Sacramento is something to at least have caution there. So, good read, good concern and caution. I think that's a really smart, sort of like angle, if you will. Um, things along those lines. Hey, just want to remind everyone you can get up to a 100% profit boost on your MLB same game parlay today. Opt in at Bet Rivers and get your MLB midweek profit boost on any same game parlay with odds of plus 100 or longer. Check the Bet Rivers app for full details. Okay, so we've touched on some teams in the wild card race in the American League. Let's check in on the National League. Cubs hosting the Mets. This game on ESPN, so it probably is going to have a big handle. Cubs minus 125 at home after they blew that game yesterday. The Mets rallied from a 5-run deficit. It had been the first time in like years. So the Cubs are sitting atop the wild card. They celebrated. Mets are third in the wild card, being chased by both the Reds and D-backs, who sit a game back. Low over under here. Matthew Boyd on the bump for Chicago. Jonah Tong for the Mets. This total feels low, especially after seeing the fireworks last night. And we don't even know how long these pitchers are going to go because, it's like they're babying him. They babied Horton yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think over 7 is a good bet. It is minus 122. So somebody keep in mind with the juice, but that's my first read. Boyd hasn't exactly been fantastic lately.
No, he hasn't, and you would think that you would need a little bit of length out of him tonight because of the fact that Horton basically leaves after 3 innings last night, and and they had to use that bullpen a little bit. Oh, what to do here? I I don't know how long Tong goes because he's kind of a fill in the
Yeah,
rotation
he
now
is.
for the Mets, and he's not going to be in the rotation if in fact they do get the wild card. Which, by the way, they now have a 1 game lead in the wild card, or as the Reds lost last night. Diamondbacks, by the way, late heroics there for those guys as they were down 4-0. Tanner Scott blows the save and they get the win. So market looks priced right. I would lean over here in this spot, but nothing for me just because I don't see a lot of maybe length for Tong and Boyd. So think you could get it in. I might be looking for a live over if these starters may be kind of sharp, but they only try to get them through 5. I might be looking at a live over later in this game.
What's keeping you off the over before the game? Because it's a low number at 7.
Because Boyd can be like a good pitch to contact guy. Like he's a guy that keeps the pitch count low. He very rarely has, like when I was talking about those big innings earlier of like Flaherty and Bybee, you
Right.
very rarely see Boyd have like those 25, 30 pitch innings. He is very good at getting out of jams, and getting those double play balls or getting those force outs when he has some traffic on the base pads. You very rarely see him really get hammered. It's only happened, I think, just a couple times this year. So that worries me a little bit where there's traffic on and then the runners in scoring position is just bad for both teams. And then plus the fact that the Cubs are in. Like the Cubs cannot win the division
Right.
here in the Central. So they're already in. I don't think you worry about seeding or anything like that. So might you get a couple guys? Might you get like PCA or a Tucker? Like they sat Swanson last night, and that's what worries me is that you're not going to get some of your primary hitters in the lineup for the teams that can't They can't move anywhere. Like the Cubs are, I think, maybe the only team right now, or one of the few. They can't move anywhere in the standings. Like they can't win the division. They're already in the playoffs. So this is where you maybe sneak in some days off for some of your everyday players.
Point. That's a good one, because I was going to say Boyd's not the form he was middle of the season when he was getting a little Cy Young action on the futures market. He's been getting touched up of late, so that's why this lineup's good. So 7 runs is not a lot. One of these teams can get there by themselves. So I was looking at the 7 minus a quarter or minus 122 pretty strongly, and about to pull the trigger. But you're right, the lineups may be a little depleted, especially the Cubs may pull some guys.
Yeah, and you've seen a little bit of movement, by the way, on the Mets for that. Small tick. Even though the over has been getting slightly bet in the overnight, but as always at Wrigley, check your weather.
Right. Okay. So we have an Eli White pinch hit leadoff home run in the bottom of the 9th. So the Braves have now cut the deficit to 1. It's 4-3. Profar does get out. So Matt Olson at the dish with 1 out, and the Braves are 1 swing away from maybe tying the game and staving off the end of their win streak. So 10 straight wins. They are certainly right there within striking distance now that they've closed the gap for Atlanta. We've glossed over a few games, we skipped a few games. We're winding down the show here. Does any game stand out for you, Wes, that we should touch on before we say goodbye?
Well, another game certainly with playoff implications, and that is the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds. On the Reds side, of course, Reds get shut down last night against the Pirates, so now fall 1 game back away from the Mets. They do have Hunter Green going today against Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens, if you could find maybe the under outs. We were talking about awards markets on Monday. One awards market that is wrapped up is the NL Cy Young. Paul Skeens is going to win the NL Cy Young. Like I saw him at some other shops. I don't think it's still up at Bet Rivers. It's probably been taken off with him such being a big favorite. But I saw him, I think, at like minus 20,000 earlier this week. And Paul Skeens is going to win the Cy Young. So how much do the Pirates really want to stretch out Paul Skeens in the final start of the season? Maybe it's like, okay, man, just give me a good 5. And I could certainly see that. And also the Reds, they have to be locked in now because they got a team that's 68 and 89. It's like, you got to try to sweep these guys. And that's already now out the window, I think, for the Reds. So they're locked in playing for a lot more. If you look, they only had Skeens go 5 innings against Baltimore. He did get hit around a little bit against the Cubs last time out, who have seen him multiple times and only went 3 2/3. So I don't think Paul Skeens goes all that long in this game tonight against the Reds. Hunter Green, by the way, he's going to have a leash. But remember, you're also buying at the top of the market for Hunter Green because he did go complete game against the Cubs last time out. So I'm going to eschew his prop. But Paul Skeens, if you can get the under on the recorded outs, which I believe is 15.5, I think that's worth the play. I don't think that they stretch this guy out knowing he's got the Cy wrapped up.
That was my question about Hunter Green. He went 109 pitches in his last outing. He went the full 9 innings, 1 hit. It's usually a good time to fade a guy off a big pitching performance like that. Although Hunter Green's such a hoss, I don't want to fade him necessarily. So any read on that, not wanting to take the bait with the, given that he pitched through 109 pitches?
And Brady Singer did go 5 1/3, so he gave him some length. Brady Singer gets hit around with the Pirates a lot for some reason, and he certainly did last night. So looking at the bullpen, they used Ashcraft for an inning. They used Barlow. They used Phillips for 1 2/3. So you would think with the Reds, just looking up and down their bullpen here, they didn't use any of the back end guys like Santillan or Pagan or Nick Martinez. So they should have guys available. So I think if Green gets in trouble, they're not really gonna, I think, just beat the hell out of him after they want distance. And if he's dominating, then they're gonna ride him. But I don't know how long he's going to go tonight, especially when you do have some bullpen arms. And we know the Reds bullpen has been very up and down this year, but do you really, push a guy? Now, he is juiced heavily to the over, by the way, 17 and a half outs. So that means you got to go 6 to win. Eesh. I know why he's getting bet a little bit, but if anything, I would slightly lean to the under at plus money on Hunter Green, just for what you said, going 109 pitches and the fact that you do have arms available.
Yeah, it's a great matchup on paper, but it's not the great spot with the Skeens might have a short leash. Hunter Green coming off the big pitching performance. So something to keep in mind as we process all of that. Quick check in the comments section. Some fun sort of interaction. Amish Electrician says, I'm feeling the A's for some reason. Well, the Astros have lost 4 straight. Can't fault you at all. Amish Farmer says, take a look at Rockies props. The odds are higher than most for a reason, but if you catch them on a night they're hitting one, you can make some money. And then cool emoji there. And the Crooked Chef liked my Aces addition to the baseball parlay. Good call on Yankees Mariners Aces. I even added Wilson over 20 points to make it juicier. So certainly appreciate everyone getting involved. We'll be back tomorrow. Wes, great stuff as always. Always appreciate the insight. But and just a reminder, Betting Weekly Fast Break. A lot of dark days. The next show is on Friday. So no show coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern. But for Wes Reynolds and everyone behind the scenes who does such an awesome job making everything look so good with the research, with the producing, the directing, the graphics, you name it. I'm Doug Kezirian. Best of luck on your wagers. Enjoy this awesome day of baseball with so much on the line. And we'll see you back here next time.